Hello and welcome to Wednesdays with WE. This is the ninth episode, and as usual, before I get into the thick of things, I'll always welcome you and also tell you that you can catch up with all the previous episodes on the handles of Hindu and the Sports Star. And also for the people who are joining us for the first time, give us your comments and also subscribe and also press the like button and inform all your friends because you're going to be privy to a lot of great content. Now, let me get into the thick of it. My guest tonight has been the architect of building a fantastic bowling attack for India during his tenure as the bowling coach of Team India. And he's also been a long-time friend of mine. I know him for more than 40 years. Phenomenal knowledge he has about cricket, and he's gone from strength to strength in his coaching career. And at the moment, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome Arun and also to present Bharat Arun to you people. Good evening, Arun. How are you?
Hi, good evening, Ram. You've been very kind, and I am very happy to be on the show. So it's great to be always. It's always great to be interacting with you. So let's begin.
One of the remarkable attributes that you had always is your power of observation. You always would observe people very keenly, the way they talk, the way they do things. That's a very important attribute for a coach, isn't it? Because he's got to observe a lot of things.
Yeah, you're bang on the money because I think coaching, you coach the person, don't coach the sport. Sport is just a medium. So I think in order to coach very effectively, you need to understand a person, understand what he likes, and also, like you rightly mentioned, you need to observe what he's doing, what are the things he's good at, and what are the things, what are his shortcomings. So once you understand all this and you build a relationship to coach, that's when coaching becomes very effective.
And obviously, your observatory powers has also helped you to mimic people, isn't it? We'll come to
That's
that later,
always
Arun.
always did it when I was a kid, but then maybe I always like to observe. Even when I'm sitting at the airports, I observe different kind of people, and think it's something which is ingrained in me. Maybe that's one quality you need as a coach to succeed. I was lucky enough to have that from a young age.
Yes, you had that, and you also had a great willingness to learn all the time. One of the biggest challenges the coaches go through is improvising as things pan out, isn't it?
Well, you evolve as a coach. To me, after going through all the coach education courses, yes, you did well and you passed. But I feel that is the beginning of your learning. Every time you enter the field, every time you interact with people, and every time you interact with different players, there's a lot in it for us to learn. And a little while ago, you said, you need to be a good student. So I think in order to be a good coach, you need to be a great student. So that learning capacity and always willing to learn will you will evolve into being a better coach.
Learning is important, and as you take charge of teams, as you handle teams, you're always facing challenges. Let's look at the things that is happening now. Let's take the case of Bumrah. Suddenly, the team manager gets to hear he's not available. How much more challenging can it get for coaches?
It is. I think losing out Bumrah is not easy. The quality that and the experience that Bumrah brings into the team, it's like to like. It's very difficult to replace. But therein lies a challenge for another bowler to rise and say, "Let me do the job for the country." That gives a great opportunity to another upcoming talented bowler to take up this challenge. I remember Bumrah once in Australia the first time when he played. He faced with similar challenges, and he was on the money right from the beginning. So I think, yes, unfortunate that we have lost Bumrah, but also it's a great opportunity for another bowler to pick himself up.
You boys did well. You, Ravi, Sridhar, on the famous tour of Australia. Every morning you woke up, you were hearing about somebody not being fit. There came a stage where you were looking to buy whites and have a bit of a net session, weren't you? That many challenges you had to overcome on that tour.
Yeah, exactly. And because also the restrictions of COVID, it was extremely difficult for any player to be sent back or bring another player into Australia. With great difficulty, we as an Indian team went in with a lot of restrictions. And we not only had to quarantine for 2 weeks in Dubai, we also had to quarantine in Australia for 2 weeks. There were tough times, and at that point, I think Ravi had the foresight to say, let's not all the players who played the one days and the T20 were supposed to go back. And he said it's going to be difficult in case someone gets injured to bring any player into Australia. So let's keep everybody back. And I think the BCCI also readily agreed to have all the players back. And that kind of helped us a great deal.
Did it drive you guys crazy at any time because of pandemic restrictions, injuries one after the other, challenges one after the other? How really tough was it for you guys?
I think it was initially it was the quarantine was pretty hard, and then there was soft quarantine. There we were told not to get into public places and things like that. We were up for the challenge. Even before we went, we had a meeting in Dubai immediately after the quarantine period was over. So in that meeting, we discussed that this is going to be a very, very tough tour with challenges. And in Australia, they try to make it that much more difficult for you to work on the mental side and to kill you mentally. So we were up for this. We made it a point and decided that we will not complain about anything. We will be only focused on what we do, no matter how much they try to make things difficult for you. Our focus will be on the game. And I think that process that we set much before the tour started, uh, I thought that was a great way to overcome the challenges that we faced in Australia.
Fast bowlers tend to get injured, especially the ones with unique actions. Is there something that can be done to prevent injuries?
Well, fast injuries are a very inherent part of fast bowling. And however, even if your action is good, you are bound to be injured sometime. That doesn't give you a total, kind of blanket insurance for you not to be injured. Injuries are part of sport, and more so with unique bowling action like a Bumrah. But I think with a lot of workload management, especially in cases like bowlers like Bumrah, and working a lot on their strength, the bowler also needs to sacrifice a lot in terms of his diet, in terms of his exercise, and equal importance to his physical well-being. All these things go a long way in preventing your injury, but it doesn't, give you any assurance that you will not be injured. You have to handle it, especially people with unique bowling actions. They are bound. I would say they are a lot more injury prone than one with a nice, smooth bowling action.
Enlighten me on work management. You brought it up. It is good. You brought it up. It's okay up to a point, but it does have its limitations, isn't it? How much ever you try to manage the workload of a fast bowler.
Well, see, matches are some thing which you have no control. If you need a bowler, if the captain needs a bowler to bowl that many overs, or if he wants Bumrah at the match situation, he needs to bowl a longer spell. Those are unavoidable circumstances, and I think those are circumstances when a bowler should not worry about workload management. But after the games, sufficient rest, because rest is one of the best thing that any bowler can have. By rest, I mean active rest, where there is a lot of onus on fitness, It can be pool sessions. It's a good recovery through good sleep and quality food that you eat. All this would go a long way in making sure that the fast bowler remains fit over a period of time. So, as you rightly said, matches, you have no control. But between matches is something which I think you should pay a lot of importance to for bowlers like Bumrah or any other fast bowler who bowls extended overs for the country to be fit at any given point of time.
From the physical side of cricket, especially fast bowling, let's go to the mental side. Do the fast bowlers need to have a different psyche?
Definitely, yes. Um, Sometimes I remember one incident when one of the Indian fast bowlers in the 2018 series, he came up to me during the last test in Sydney when it was raining and we were, the match was heading to a draw. And he said, I'm a little tired now. Obviously, he had bowled a lot of overs. He did magnificently well for India. And he said, this time I'm going to bowl within myself. So I very clearly remember the conversation. I said, if you bowl well within yourself now, the batsman who's playing there, he wouldn't know that you're bowling within yourself. Mentally, he would have an advantage of getting over your bowling if you're going to be bowling within yourself. So I think no matter where you bowl, it is important that you come out and bowl with all vigor during the last match of the series. It so happened that game, he bowled the fastest spell of the whole tournament. And he came and said it felt very good when the chips were down, because I think it's hugely mental. Cricket, a lot of people say cricket is 90% mental, and it's the 10% physical part. For 10% physical part, you spend so much time in the gym, you spend so much time on the field, honing your skills. But how much time do you literally give for the mental part, which many people say constitutes 90%? You don't have to put 5 hours of work, but at least half an hour of work, setting the processes, understanding yourself is extremely important for a fast bowler.
The boys are in Australia for the T20 World Cup. It's a format dominated by the batters. Do the bowlers need to have a different kind of mindset? How do they go about it?
See, T20 is a format that really challenges the best of bowlers, because you could be bowling to your strength and that ball could be hit out of the park. So again, we were talking of the mental aspect of the game. When your best ball is being hit out of the park, a bowler tends to move away from his strength, and sometimes the pressure could make him blank, and he could end up bowling areas which are not his strengths. So I think you need tremendous amount of mental strength to stay calm at that point of time. And also in T20 cricket, your comeback of 2 balls can be the deciding factor in a match. You may be hit for 2 consecutive sixes, but you could come back very strongly the next 2 balls. But that depends on how much the bowler, in spite of getting hit, gets back to his strength. So I firmly believe, and I always keep telling the bowlers, under pressure, go back to what you are absolutely sure of executing. So if you go, and if you are very clear in the mind of what you want to execute, you have the best chance of executing what you want to do. So by this, I think it's easily said, but I think under pressure, the bowler goes through tremendous amount of thought processes, or he gets blank. But to go back to his strengths is a very, very simple mantra for any bowler to do well.
Bowlers like surfaces which offer some bounce. In Australia, you're likely to get some bounce. Does it make it a level playing field for the World Cup matches?
I think Australia, you get probably one of the best and the most sporting wickets you can get around the world, especially for one-day cricket. Wickets are hard, they are bouncy, they are very well prepared. They gives you even chance for a batsman to play, all around, and some of the shots which he cannot play in other parts of the world. And also for a bowler, there is enough in the wicket if you're willing to, especially for fast bowlers, if you're willing to bend the back. The grounds are big, so you could play to situations according to the dimensions of the ground. And there is something in the wicket for the bowlers for them to excel. So I think it's a great challenge. You're bowling to the best in the world. Also, some of the best batsmen, the best innings have been played in Australia. So it's a great battle between bat and ball.
Having a left-arm seamer is a great boon. You impressed with Ashdeep? Whatever you've seen of him so far?
Yes, he's been pretty impressive. I feel he bowls pretty well at the death. All he needs is a lot more confidence, which I'm sure the Indian team management would be giving Arshdeep. He's very talented, as you rightly said. Being a left-hander adds to that advantage, especially in T20 cricket.
We as coaches always like to get on with it. By that I mean the team has been picked. We would like to obviously back everybody who's a part of the team. Now, if you are a part of the setup, would you have pumped for Imran Malik?
Imran Malik is exciting. He's got the pace, and I think we're given the right kind of fields. He's done pretty well for in the IPL. Considering the wickets in Australia, I feel that India have carried far too many spinners. Somebody like an Imran Malik would definitely be a great fillip for the team.
What is the big difference between the side you handled in the last T20 World Cup and the one that is there in Australia now?
I would say with the experience, the bowling experience, the batting is more or less the same, and most Indian batsmen play exceptional cricket in Australia, and we as the Indian team always we have done exceptionally well in the ICC tournaments and in Australia. So I don't think batting is much of a concern. What I'm a little skeptical about is our death bowling with Bumrah not being there. But as I said earlier, there are bowlers who are capable. Harshal Patel has done well, exceedingly well in India, and Arshdeep too. He's proved time and again that he's good at the death. But now, would they rise to the challenge is something which we have to wait and see.
You felt India is carrying one spinner too many. What role do you see for the spinners in Australia in the World Cup?
Yes, there is bounce. The grounds are big. Spinners have a very important role in Australia. But I think 3 spinners are too many because you're not going to play more than at any given point. You would be playing just one spinner in the team. And you have the choice of 2 spinners in the side. 3 spinners is one too many. That's why I said probably Imran Malik instead of one spinner would have been a very, very wise move.
Are you one who believes in the bowlers playing their hand with the bat? Because those runs can be the difference between success and defeat, the runs they get towards the end.
Well, I think many a times there has been occasions when if some of the bowlers can bat, it's proven very, very handy, especially big scoring games and very close games. I think if a bowler can chip in with something with the bat, it's always a very handy thing to have.
Can we expect some runs from the bowlers that we have in the party now?
I think it's pretty difficult if Akshar Patel is playing. Harshal Patel both can bat a bit, and so can Bhunesh. So apart from that, I don't see many runs coming under tough situations in Australia.
What are the pressures that bowlers need to overcome in a major tournament like World Cup?
Well, there is a lot of expectation in during the World Cup. The expectation from the 1.4 billion in the country, and there's expectation, your own expectation of what you want to do at the World Cup. But again, none of it is going to help you perform better. All you need to do is the kind of work that you put in. If you're really prepared well, and a lot of people talk of the process. What exactly is the process is something which you need to define. You got to understand yourself as a bowler very well. You got to understand the areas that the strengths that you have. With your strengths, what are the areas I need to bowl? How quickly they are able to adapt to the Australian wickets is a challenge. That's why I said somebody experienced like a Mohammad Shami for Bumrah would have been brilliant because he's played in Australia so many times. So for a bowler, the biggest challenge would be to focus on his strengths at any given point of time, especially in this format.
You spoke about adaptability. How adaptable do you think is this particular fast bowling attack that has been picked for the World Cup?
I think the Bhuvanesh has had a pretty good run in Australia, and the rest of them, they've hardly played, like Arshdeep or Harshal Patel or Arshdeep Singh haven't played in Australia. I think it would be a challenge, but also to have somebody like them who really willing to bend their backs in helpful conditions in Australia could be an advantage to Team India.
I asked about adaptability because in the World Cup, unlike a bilateral series, you play a different side every game, which means plans will have to change, your approach has to change, isn't it?
Yes, the whole thing is about planning, and today they have a lot of data on every batsman that you can come across in world cricket. So that helps you to plan, but also matching those areas of shortcomings of a batsman with the strength of a bowler is going to is an additional thing which you would be doing as a team and the team management. So with all those data, planning, and as I said earlier, the execution part of it is the greatest challenge. And for somebody who totally believes in his strengths and who's very sure of what he wants to execute at the top of his run, has the best chance to do it. So time and again, if you're going to work on that, that's why I had a policy where the bowlers at the top of their run at practice, you can't replicate a match scenario at practice, but at practice, every bowler would tell me what he wants to execute, and I would give them the feedback as to how close they were to either they have executed or how close or how far away they were from their target. So I think constantly putting pressure on yourself right from practice would be a great way for bowlers, because match becomes an extension of your net. And because every time you bowl in the net, there is pressure. You're bowling to one of the best batsmen, and all these batsmen have also seen you before, day in and day out. They see you, and they know what to expect of you. So to fox them is a big challenge, and that they can practice in the net.
Your coaching philosophy is empowering. From the time you took over and to the time you left the team, how independent did the bowlers become? To what extent they became independent?
Well, the later part of my stint with the team, I think the coach's role should become more and more redundant as you go on. So that means the bowlers are empowered. So most of the meetings, I believe in having one-to-one meetings, because I think it's a lot more specific, and I learn to understand the bowler's psyche, and they are a lot more open in our culture, and when I do one-to-one with them. So doing that helps me understand these bowlers well, and they would come up with their own plans. As you rightly said, empowering is about the bowler understanding his strengths, being able to read the batsman's strengths and shortcomings, and devising a plan for that. I would only add to whatever they come up with. And invariably, most of the time, they make their own plans. But
Now,
they
for the
have to
benefit,
discuss those plans with me.
yeah, that's fine because then there should be clarity, there should
Yeah,
be open communication. That's great.
yeah.
For the benefit of the fans, and of course, given your knowledge, briefly decode the bowling attack of Team India in the World Cup. Each bowler, briefly.
Okay, Bhuvanesh, as you all know, he definitely has the moment. He has the skills. He can bowl in the death overs as well. But to me, if whenever Bhuvanesh is bowling 130, 135 plus, he's probably at his peak bowling form, and that would add a lot of weight. Harshal Patel, yes, he's time and again proved he's got the variety, and his slow bouncers, that would be a great asset in Australia, especially with the south, the mid wicket boundaries or the square boundaries being a lot bigger in most of the grounds. It would be a great asset for him to use those slow bouncers. He can use them very well. Arshdeep, yes, he's proved time and again in the IPL. To me, he's probably one of the most impressive bowlers in the IPL. And all he needs is the confidence of the team and the team management, because he's got all the ingredients to be successful at this level. But what I felt, I strongly felt that he needed a lot more confidence from the team management, which they are trying to give him. So there he's probably there. And also the added advantage of being a left-hander could be an asset for us. Ashwin is bowled exceptionally well of late, but I wouldn't like to see Ashwin warm the benches. A bowler like Ashwin, if he's in the team, I think you should use him a lot more than what they have been doing. Harshal Patel gives you the all-round, angle. He's somebody who's capable, who is a good striker of the ball, and with the speed and the bounce that he could extract with his bowling action, in Australia he could be a handful. And Chahal, of course, you have seen what he's capable of. I would like Chahal to be extremely confident. When he's really confident, he can be a match winner for you. So overall, I think they have the strength, they have the ability. It is the kind of confidence that they're going to have, which is going to be the deciding factor in this World Cup.
What are the personality types that are easy to handle and which are a challenge?
Well, I think to a coach, all the bowlers that I've named now, and the bowlers who were with the Indian team, all of them were different. As I said earlier, it is about understanding these players, and that is the biggest challenge for a coach, to understand a player, because as I said earlier, it is a relationship which you build, and it is interesting. It is very, very interesting for a coach to understand different people and get the best out of them.
How different is the IPL gig?
Well, IPL also, the biggest challenge is to come across all different cultures. What you say to an Indian bowler and what you say to probably an Australian bowler. What you want to, the crux of the thing could be the same, but how you put it across could be a little different. And so as a coach, to win, to instantaneously cut across all barriers and to win the confidence of the players is the biggest challenge initially, because unless you have the confidence of a player, it's very difficult to coach him. So I think the greatest challenge here is how soon a coach adapts to different players and win their confidence.
You, Sridhar, Ravi made a great team. There's a lot of understanding. Of course, Ravi for you is more than a contemporary and a teammate, isn't he?
Yes, to me, I know him for the last 40 years. It's not that it's been a very smooth journey for us. We have had our ups and downs, we have had our differences, but yes, we have fought bitterly sometimes. But one good thing was nothing was personal. It was all for the for the team. And when we did the fact that we both were close also helped, and I could voice whatever I want to with him. And but when we came out of the room, our thought process was one. And he's someone, I must really say, he doesn't look over your shoulder. If he has confidence in your abilities, he's somebody who's never going to look at the shoulder. He gives you freedom to work the way you want to. But he was on the whole, but he was a very tough taskmaster. That's what I would say.
The three of you aren't finished yet. You started coaching beyond a venture to help youngsters of the next generation. Just talk us through that bit.
Well, coaching beyond was something which we were discussing for the last 2 years, and we felt we are not going to last all the time with the Indian team, but we felt that there's a huge, demand for Indian coaches, and there is, I think, a lot of, for example, there are about more than, I would say some stats tell me, I don't know how far they are true, that there are about 54 million kids playing the sport. And essentially, you have only about 3,500 or 4,000 coaches, where you need more than 2 million coaches in the country. So we felt that we need to do something. It's something which, so we said we would have coach education projects. And also we felt that we would start coaching right from grassroots to elite cricketers. We want the talented young cricketers to get the same inputs as a top Indian cricketer gets. So that's why that's when Coaching Beyond was born. So it serves both the purpose of coaching young players, and also we are into coach education projects. We are shortly going to come out with a online coach education portal, which is going to be an LMS platform. So the reach to different coaches, ideally we would want every academy coach in the country, every physical education teacher, and anyone who's interested in coaching to go through the course, because it's just about sharing knowledge. It's not about anything else. It's about sharing knowledge and how to coach. So I think that's when the coach education courses were also born. So it's a dual role of educating the players and also coach education. So kind of, it's pretty interesting.
There you go, folks. You want to enhance your knowledge, or you want your kids to become better cricketers? This is the man to get in touch with. Arun, we spoke a little bit about injury prevention. Is that viable? Is it practical?
You cannot be injury free, but you can delay the onset of injuries. And also you could, by working on the strengths of a player. Each player is different. Understanding their strengths and working on their strength, working on their shortcomings to make them stronger. You need overall strength, all round strength, to be a fast bowler especially. And understanding what requires to be a good fast bowler is extremely important. So if that is there, you could realistically, the career of a fast bowler can be a lot more than what it is. And for a very large part of it, you can stay injury free. But there is nothing that can guarantee and say that the player would be totally injury free.
If there is one thing that Team India needs to do to win the World Cup, what do you think that will be?
Just go out and express themselves like what they should be absolutely fearless, because T20 has shown that teams that have played fearless cricket have done exceptionally well. If there is one thing that I would want Team India to do, because they have the tremendous abilities, but they should be absolutely fearless to do that.
Let's have a sample of your mimicry now, Arun. Now, imagine Ravi is asked a question about a debatable thing. Let's say the selection of Imran Malik, he's for it. The others are not easily buying into it. Let's have a line or two in his style.
Just go ahead and pick that guy. I like him. And he's probably the best guy around. That would be the way Ravi would be saying. And
Yes, thanks, Arun. Thanks a lot for your time. And as usual, it was great to listen to you, sharing your knowledge. I'm sure a lot of people would have been waiting for some knowledge to be given to them about fast bowling and the injury prevention and various other aspects that go with it. Thank you very much for your time and look forward to catching up with you in person.
sure. Cheers, Ram. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Take care. Super.
There it was, Bharat Arun sharing his knowledge about various aspects of fast bowling and also about his tenure with Team India. And he's also told what he thinks of the current bowling attack of Team India. Hopefully, they'll all do as well as he expects them to, but we'll all have to wait and see, won't we? So, the fact of the matter is that I will be with you in a week's time. And until then, I'd like you to be good and also be safe.